listening to Something's Off with Andrew Heaton, and, via deductive reasoning, you can infer that you are also listening to me, Andrew Heaton, as well. And eventually, just based on that, you can use sine and cosine to figure out the hypotenuse of this show. And from there, using sheer logic, you can draw some pretty disturbing questions about the moon landing. I want you to imagine an outlandish scenario in which Kim Kardashian runs for president. Because my guest today, who is a politics horse trader par excellence, thinks that's going to happen. Generally, when I observe politicians, I scoff or brood or drink some combination of Pepto-Bismol and whiskey to muscle my way through all the Rube Goldberg machinations and virtue signaling. Justin Robert Young watches feckless politicians the way Olympic judges watch diving competitions. He appreciates the art and craft of politicking. Which is why, when I saw him floating the prediction that Kim Kardashian will run for president, my antennas went up. Now, it sounds crazy, I know. Can you imagine a vacuous, rich kid reality television show star jumping directly into a presidential election with no prior political experience? What kind of crazy, tipsy-topsy world would that happen in other than ours, where our current president is in fact a bombastic game show host, and Florida has more electoral votes than George Will? Before we get into what is effectively a Black Mirror episode about pop culture and American politics and very likely reality, I do want to make a quick note about Mrs. Kardashian. For the last several years, I have been smug and condescending towards the Kardashians. I learned the word slattern just to describe them, and I have been an elitist toff about all of that, as evidenced by my use of the word toff. Don't tend to hear toff at NASCAR rallies. Kim Kardashian, worth about $350 million. There is clearly some business savvy there. But more importantly, she's personally sprung 15 nonviolent drug offenders from prison. Me and the other Fraser Cranes of the world have no right to sneer at Kim Kardashian until we can take credit for getting 16 people out of the pokey. Also, I have a sex tape. But before we get into all of that, Something's Off with Andrew Heaton is brought to you by Tornado Repellent from Wunder Kim Industries. Tornado Repellent lasts at least 5 hours and is safely made from non-toxic chemicals. At only $29.99 a can, it's the most fiscally prudent option on the market to ward off twisters. You're an attractive young woman on your way home from a cocktail party. You've got on a cute, skimpy party dress, sparkly earrings, and stylish high heels. Your apartment isn't too far away from the party, so you decide to walk despite the late hour. But when you look back over your shoulder, you can see following you down the street a tornado. At first you think maybe you're just being paranoid, but you zigzag through a residential neighborhood in a way that doesn't at all make sense, and the tornado follows you move for move. You look at it squarely, then pull out your phone and pretend to talk to your boyfriend. When you look back, that tornado is still following you, and it's gaining. So you run into a nearby apartment building and knock on the first door you see, but nobody answers. Panicked, you run into the stairwell. The second the door shuts behind you, you are face to face with that tornado. You try to open the door, but it's locked. The only exit is on the other side of the leering twister. The tornado cackles at you and pulls out a switchblade as it approaches. Your heart beats like a drum and your hands shake.
Ha ha ha! I'm a tornado!
And that's when you remember. Your Aunt Janine gave you a can of tornado repellent for your last birthday, with a card that said, "Be a fighter, not a victim." At the time you thought it was a stupid birthday gift, but now you're glad you have it. You pull the can of Twister spray out of your purse, jam your thumb down on the aerosol button, and a 6-foot stream gushes out all over the tornado. The tornado shrieks and falls over in anguish, and you kick it as hard as you can right in the tornado testicles. It screams and turns purple, so you douse it again with the tornado repellent. Then, as it's writhing in agony, you step over it, kick it one more time in the head, and walk out the emergency exit. You call 911 on your phone and let them know about the tornado's whereabouts. "Are you okay, ma'am?" asks the 911 operator. "I'm fine," you say. And you are. Can we get your name, ma'am? Yes. My name is Sandra Day O'Connor, and I don't take from nobody. Wow, good thing you had some tornado repellent, former Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. Tornado repellent isn't just for emergencies, it's for peace of mind, knowing you can protect yourself and your loved ones from tornado violence. Violent tornadoes are most common during tornado season, but that doesn't stop them from popping up in stairwells, alleys, and dimly lit parking lots. If you've ever been in that situation, you'll be glad you've got a can of tornado repellent handy. Tornado repellent from Wunderkim Industries. Does it feel windy in here? No, because we use tornado repellent. You guys, I got invited to go on a cruise, for real. A Mediterranean cruise next spring, and you are formally invited to join me, except not in my cabin. We can hang out in my cabin, we can drink and play Cards Against Humanity, but you've got to get your own cabin. It's the cruise through history where we will be exploring the foundations of religion, freedom, and human progress in the Western world. Imagine sailing the Mediterranean on a ship full of passengers who share your thirst for history and love of country. Gourmet Italian food, great nightlife, and relaxing poolside on the deck. Sounds pretty enticing, right? Well, you don't have to dream it. You can live it. We'll sail on the incredible Costa Luminosa out of Venice, Italy, and then on through the Eastern Mediterranean, visiting Croatia, where I've always wanted to go, Greece, and Israel. I'll be there, as will David Barton, Glenn Beck, Stu Bergier, and Bill O'Reilly will make an appearance. So if you want to hang out with me on a boat, eat great Italian food, and then learn about history, go to comesailaway.com to find out more details. Once again, that's comesailaway.com if you want to be on a cruise with me and learn about history. And now it's time for a day in the life of a college student. 9 o'clock. Wake up. Time for class. Anthropology 101. Today, learn about the Xhosa people and how anthropologists interact with local cultures without interfering in them. 10:30. Go to the library and sift through 2 decades of yearbooks to see if any professor said something problematic who must be called out in order to make the campus safer. 11:45. Discover a photograph of Professor Gerard Dunkus, a 73-year-old instructor at the School of Architecture, in which he is clearly wearing a Bush Quail 92 t-shirt. This man is a fascist. Write open letter to the university president in the campus newspaper, demanding to know why she allows white supremacists to work at the School of Architecture. Noon. Lunch with friends in the cafeteria. Becky is thinking about doing a study abroad in Spain, which would be really neat for her, and also she could kind of use the vacation because her breakup with Roger was really difficult this semester. 12:30. Music theory class for humanities core electives. Halfway through lecture, demand to know why the professor is focusing on Mozart, who probably owned slaves, instead of Joseph Bologna, an 18th century African American who composed string quartets and is equally important to the world of classical music contributions. 1:30. Soak up some sunshine on the South Oval and take fun Instagram pics with new phone. Hashtag spring is here, hashtag college life, hashtag end capitalism, hashtag socialism, hashtag the revolution is now, hashtag be happy, hashtag blessed. Text friends to see who wants to play Frisbee after class this evening. 2 o'clock. Burst into political science lecture and demand all the students sign a social justice loyalty oath. 2:15. Organize a campus inclusion team to seek out and document any conservatives who might be undermining campus safety. 2:30. Having found no conservatives anywhere on campus, determine that the least enthusiastic members of the campus inclusion team must themselves be conservatives, and demand that they give up names of other secret conservatives, and then audit sociology classes until sufficiently progressive. 3 o'clock. Grab coffee with Chad from Kappa Nu Epsilon and talk about how stressed you are over the upcoming midterms. People just don't understand how intense a full academic workload can be, particularly for double majors. 3:30. Begin to suspect that Chad from Kappa Nu Epsilon is conservative. Go through state voting rolls to see if he or any of his family members are Republicans. Determine that Chad's father is a registered Republican. Organize campus inclusion team to confront Chad and demand that he legally change his last name, which has been tainted by bigotry, and that he sign an affidavit formally disavowing his bigoted white supremacist father. 4 o'clock. English 301. Good thing you did English AP in high school. knocked out some of those prerequisites so that you can jump in at a junior level and also save yourself some money. Student loans are crazy. 5 o'clock. Organized armed student protest around the administration building, demanding to know why known white supremacist Gerard Dunkus has not been fired yet and arrested for hate speech. Demand that the university president resign and be replaced by slam poetry. 6 o'clock. Drinks at Campus Corner. You can finally legally drink beer in this stupid country, even though you already did it abroad in Vienna, which is more enlightened, and also where you felt very at home, because deep down you are clearly European and not American, because you're sophisticated and open-minded and were somehow born in a country of backwater yokels by accident. Order an amber and a pilsner. 7 o'clock. Hop on Twitter. Learn that Professor Gerard Dunkus has committed harikari. This is absolutely horrible. Harikari is a Japanese practice meaning that evil Dunkus made his last vile act on earth cultural appropriation. He was a monster. 7:30. Glee Club. There's nothing as good at melting away stress as singing your heart out with other college students. You've been working really hard to improve your range and volume, and it's really starting to show. 8 o'clock. Order campus safety and inclusion team to arrest any surviving members of college Republicans and reassign them to the sociology department for re-education, until which time they have been deemed non-problematic. 8:30. Take Becky mini-golfing. You and Becky are friends, but maybe you have feelings for each other. Are you dating? You hang out like 5 times a week, and 2 nights ago she put her head on your shoulder when you watched Amelie in your dorm room. Take lots of Instagram photos with Becky to see if she leans in, sort of like you're cuddling a little, and then see what she says in the comments when you post the Instagram pictures. 9 o'clock. Decide that yellow is now officially an evil color. Round up students wearing yellow and demand to know why they are wearing an evil color, which signifies toxic masculinity. Print all of their names in the trigger warning section of the campus newspaper. 9:30. Ice cream on the North Oval. Becky update. She liked the Instagram pictures, but she didn't say anything in the comments. This is really confusing. Like, what are you playing at, Becky? Are you just rebounding from a relationship with Roger, or are we friends, or what is it? 10 o'clock. Exhume the corpse of Gerard Dunkus and impale his racist head on a pike above the arc on the North Oval to show the masses that intolerance is not acceptable at this university, which is a safe space. Order the campus inclusion team to arrest his widow and force her to look at her dead husband's severed, racist head until she publicly disowns him and the patriarchy. Then order her to read intersectional poetry in the quad while social justice studies majors pelt her with milkshakes and scream, shame. 10:30. Watch Grand Budapest Hotel with Becky. My guest today is Justin Robert Young. He is the host of Politics podcast and a variety of others, one of my favorite people to have on the show. Justin, thanks for coming back.
And I will also mention that Amelie, great closer.
Yeah. You know what? Thanks. Listen up, folks in college. It's a decent one there. It's a good cuddly movie. It's fun. It's kind of like...
I'm just saying. Oh, yeah. No. And I think that one's probably gained with age, too, now that it's not like it was new when I was in college. But now, oh, man. Yeah, if you're digging into the crates for that one, that's a good move.
I feel it's got like kind of, and I say this in a good way, it's got like kind of a hipster banner element to it. Like it's got that very like quirky, whimsical dynamic. So go for it.
I think at this point it probably regulates a few EU limits on whimsy.
Yes, that's right.
It require a few new
maximum whimsy.
Yeah.
So, Justin, before we jump into Kim Kardashian, we're trying out some games this week.
Okay.
Today we're going to do a Jennings challenge. This is where my producer is going to come on and give you and I both a challenge. I don't know what it is in advance. Jennings, what do we got?
All right. Welcome back to Challenges with Jennings. I think I like that better.
Okay.
Today, you are both tasked to make as many allusions, references to the movie Groundhog Day as possible.
Awesome.
And whoever is able to do the most by the end of the episode will win the prize.
Great. Okay.
Hey, look, Jennings, I'm with you, babe.
He's off to a good start. Okay. All right. So noting that, I listened to your show the other day, Justin, and you're predicting that Kim Kardashian is going to run for president. Walk me through this. How did you arrive at that conclusion?
Okay. So this, and to be clear, certainly my show is a little bit out there. But so for your audience, which I know is of scholarly, learned folks, who will
everyone who listens to this program has elbow patches. That is the rule. If you're listening to this program right now and you're not wearing a blazer, turn it off. Turn it off right now. We don't allow riffraff in here.
I know that it is the Something's Off audience that will be taking up the majority of the cabins on the cruise through history. Yes. So this is a very serious crowd. So I would describe this in the gambling sense as, I'm looking for value, right? Okay. I'm looking for the things that you can spot from way out that you'd get really good odds on that would come through. So here is my pitch on this. And you took some of the substantive elements, which is that indeed she has over the last 3 years seemed to have behind the scenes started to build up a little bit of a interest in criminal justice reform. This is not just throwing her name on a charity. This is effective lobbying. She's created reportedly a friendship with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner that not only resulted in actual legislation from the Trump administration, but a big shout out during the State of the Union that got an actual applause line from something more than just the Republicans that were there. It's a legislation that was lauded by Van Jones as a good step in the right direction in terms of criminal justice reform for nonviolent drug offenses. So there's that, right? But let's get into the fun stuff, which is...
Wait, hold on real quick. So would you say that Kim Kardashian has had something of a character plot arc going from narcissist to helping people, much like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day?
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. I have a hard time just kind of beyond the pointing and laughing at Kim Kardashian, which I think is part of the act, to be honest. She is somebody that has created a very, that entire family built the concept of influencer economy, right? The idea that we have access to all these people in a crumbling monoculture that are not being fed by traditional advertising, that are not being informed by traditional advertising. They pay attention to us. We can tell them what makeup to buy, and they will buy it. And they have created a tremendous economy based on that. And we can laugh at who they were as they discovered it, but there is, to me, very little difference between their capitalizing on that and, let's say, Google or Facebook understanding that the future of advertising for them was a bid system where you were able to get contextual results for where you're going to put your ad. It was just an understanding of where the market was going, and they were rewarded for it. So I think that there is an intelligence to the Kardashian family that is probably, intentionally glossed over by the fact that they just, argue about what Postmates they're going to get on television for.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that something that I will give both Donald Trump and the Kardashians credit for is that they are very, very good at accruing media attention. That is not something that I think is accidental. And same with Kanye West, who is married to Kim Kardashian. He's also very, very good at getting media attention. And in theory, if anyone in the Kardashian clan were to run for office or take a hard stance and the other one's lined up behind him, that would be a gigantic boon of unearned media in a way that would require endless fundraising for a Jeb Bush.
Sure. Now, let's also not look at Kim Kardashian of where she came from. Let's project this down the line a little bit. Let's say it's 4 years from now. Let's say it's 8 years from now. And now Kim Kardashian is no longer, by all outward appearance, to be the young ingenue with the sex tape, but rather she is the mother of three that, releases a book about her faith, right?
Well, hold on. I'm going to pause real quick. I can't fathom anybody running for high office that had any type of sex scandal in their background. That just seems wholly impossible with the American presidency.
Exactly, right? I mean, at some point, we are going to be confirming a Supreme Court justice that has nudes on Snapchat. So this is a sliding scale.
Yeah, you're right. That will eventually happen. There will be someone that dabbled as an Instagram model when they were in college and then went to law school. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. we are going to all understand this reality, and much like Punxsutawney Phil, eventually we are going to see our shadow and realize that it's not that big of a deal. So that is my pitch. My pitch is that, and then there is her running a campaign, which is, it's not only the fact that she has a tremendous social influence. Her entire family are effectively like the top 10 for combined social influence between all of her sisters and
that's a good point.
And Kendall Jenner and Kylie Jenner. These are they span.
Well, and Caitlyn Jenner as well. If Caitlyn Jenner swung in, I mean, that's Caitlyn Jenner's probably the highest profile transgender person, which is a big flashpoint in social issues right now, particularly with progressives. There's a if you were to make a map of kind of the various media hordes which could be united behind Khaleesi Kim Kardashian, it would be impressive.
I mean, it would be unlike anything we've ever seen.
Yeah.
In terms of it would, much like the way that Trump kind of used all of 24-hour cable news to his advantage in 2016 by doing their jobs for them. They would literally not have to convince anybody. They could just tweet and Instagram and Snapchat their way to the fact that there's nothing else. They would wag the dog. There's nothing else that the media, that legacy media, the newspapers and television and stuff like that would be able to cover.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, having worked in cable television news during the 2016 election, the incredible, almost biological draw that anchors have to make fun of perceived stupid people. Like it's this like you just watch any cable television news show, and at some point they'll do like, the idiot that robbed the liquor store and like used his business card or whatever. People on TV, they love being able to be the smart person putting down the dumb person, because it's this kind of effortless way to like scoff and laugh, and it's funny and it's low hanging fruit, and it's really, really a big draw. So if Kim Kardashian were to go in, I think it would be very similar to what happened with Trump, which is initially everybody in the organized media landscape went, what a maroon. Let's make fun of this dimwit, and then built him up, and then could not talk about anything else.
Of course, because at some point Kylie Jenner's going to try to explain cap and trade, and it'll be hilarious. And that's all that anybody's going to want to talk about, but it will block out the sun for anybody else.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and then like add to that, I mean, like Kanye, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever heard any Kanye West's music. But he is a huge presence in social media. He's very, very big at getting crowds and things. He's openly flirted with running for president. Like at one point, he said he might run for president in this election, and he's not going to do it, or at least I don't think he's going to do it. But it's not like that has previously been on the radar for that media power couple, and so it's not completely unforeseeable.
Yes, if I were to bet, I would say that of the two of them, Kim Kardashian has a little bit more of a steady hand at the wheel than Kanye. And I am a huge Kanye fan. I love Kanye West's music, but he is much like that dog in Up. Like he just kind of goes where he wants to go and doesn't have a steady hand. I mean, look, famously, while he was in the midst of the MAGA hat and Trump flirtation, it was Kim Kardashian that was apparently, according to Kanye, calling him and threatening to break up their marriage because he was screwing up their money. That this was too turbulent, that he was being too chaotic, and that was going to affect the entire family's brand. That they know what the red line is. They know where to keep things profitable. And if you are at that level of organization, I don't see it as ridiculous that you can say, all right, well then, how would we make a campaign for president if she becomes politically inclined, which it appears that she is?
Well, see, that's my next question, though. You've made a great case that she would have incredible reach were she to run for office. I agree with you there. However, I have a hard time making the leap that she wants to do it, and that there have been affirmative signs that she's contemplating it. Does this all reside on her having a predilection for criminal justice reform, or has she tipped the deck on anything where she's like, maybe I'll run for city council or anything like that?
No. I don't think that she has openly said that she wants to get into politics. However, I think we are at an age now, and Trump certainly is the largest example of it, where you have a lot of people that, we are in an age of disruptors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our new captains of industry were 18-year-old college kids who still look like 18-year-old college kids. They never got into suits and became what we used to think of as the J.P. Morgans of the world.
Yeah.
So there is the age that we are living in is, well, why don't I just do it? And if that's the case, and people like Mark Zuckerberg, who it's hard to think back, but a year and a half ago, long before the House was talking about opening investigations into antitrust, he was openly flirting with running for president and going on a listening tour throughout the country so he can appear more like a man of the people, because presumably he is somebody that believes he could lead the country better and doesn't need to go through this performative professional politician phase to get there. I think that's going to be more of the norm.
Or like once Trump got elected, there was these sort of clarion bugle calls within the Democratic Party to try and compel Oprah Winfrey to run for office. It wasn't universal, but there were a lot of people that were like, Oprah should run. It was this kind of idea of like, all right, like if the Republicans have a celebrity, we can match him with celebrities, and that it could be the way forward.
Well, yeah, although I think if you are looking to recruit a celebrity, that I think is going about it the wrong way. Like as soon as Trump got elected, the people that I thought that were going to run were billionaires, people that know they're richer than Donald Trump, that have laughed at Donald Trump their entire lives and think he's an idiot and believe, if he can do it, I can do it. And, I like to call people like that Howard Schultz.
Yeah. Or Mark Cuban, for that matter, because I feel like Mark Cuban, I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's very wealthy, and he also has that media reality television show thing going on. So like every once in a while,
Sure.
I don't know what his politics are, but I've met several libertarians that were like kind of hoping he'd run.
Yeah, although Mark Cuban, at least heretofore, has not pulled the Schultz move and just gotten fleeced by various media political consultants so we can run a fruitless campaign for president.
Yeah, how dare Schultz contemplate not running in one of the two horrible major political parties, and specifically the one that already hates him? How dare he?
Well, I'm all for him running. I think that there.
Me too. I'm just saying. I thought it was funny when he flirted with running as an independent. The immediate outcry from the entirety of the Democratic Party was, how dare you throw this election? You should run as a Democrat. And also, we hate you and we won't elect you as a Democrat. And I'm like, look, exactly, I'm not going to run in a party that everybody hates me in. Like that, like you don't get to veto all but the Republican candidate. Yeah.
The Schultz thing I just thought was weird because it happened so early.
Yeah.
Like, it was great for me because it gave me something to talk about. But I have no idea if he's paying. I mean, I guess like his campaign's being run by one of the people that thought it was brilliant to put Sarah Palin on the McCain ticket. So,
oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay. Well, President McCain did a great job. So maybe that'll work. Let's go back to Kim Kardashian, though. If she ran, do you think she would run as a Republican or a Democrat?
Republican.
Why do you say that?
I think she's a celebrity and she's been cagey about her politics, which means she's a Republican.
Well, and the Republican Party is now the party of feckless celebrities that run for office. It is no longer an ideological party. It is a personality-driven party.
I think her pivot is faith and religion.
Okay.
I think if you want the biggest indication that she is running, she comes from a family that is fairly religious, apparently.
Are they Armenian Orthodox?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I would guess that you would see her like, hey, look, number one, every girl that I used to know in college that was like the wildest out till 4 a.m. making mistakes kind of people, they're all on Facebook right now posting Bible verses with right?
Yes, I could. Like, what? If I were to go through my roles at OU, where I went to college, I would say that's probably pretty accurate about my experience as well. Most of the really wild young women that I do are now married with kids and going to Bible study.
And it's great, right?
Good for him. I'm not saying it's disingenuous, but I do think you're right. It's not like you retain that wild streak throughout life. A lot of people do come back around to what they view as a more balanced and gravity-oriented home life.
I think to a certain demographic that is fairly pivotal in elections, which is moms and conservative to independent-leaning voters or fans of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she can present herself as a fairly inspiring figure.
Mm-hmm. She, like as I mentioned at the top of the show, I have decided to quit slagging on her because I did for a long time. Excuse me. I don't like reality television. I think reality television is just trash. I hate all reality television. And so for that reason, when she started kind of making waves, was like, why are we paying attention to this person? However, I got to say, like, if she's freeing people, nonviolent drug offenders, like I'm gonna lay off. She's doing good in the world. I'm gonna say, as of now, Kim Kardashian strikes me as a net positive, and so I'm not gonna lay into her. And it would be interesting for her to ride that into politics. Now that said, let's say, presumably she's not going to run against Trump this election, but if she ran in 2024 and she ran as a Republican, what is the veracity of her as a candidate? Do you think that she would have the ability to she'd clearly have a lot of media, but do you think she'd be able to stand her own in a debate? Do you think that she would be able to organize the various coalitions within the Republican Party?
I think she'd certainly have more media training than people that would run against her.
That's a good point.
I think she would understand how to manage her media. I think she would understand how to connect directly with her audience better than most.
Yeah.
In terms of the debates, who knows? I think that'll be an interesting situation when we come to it. But if I were to bet, right, and this was what I eventually led to by the end of the podcast, my grand bet, which I have just the general future bet that Kim Kardashian will run for president at some point, right? But if I'm really going to go for the big money, Andrew, then I would bet 2024, your presidential race, Kim Kardashian versus Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, God.
Get ready.
Man, I have to assume that the dormant, pragmatic wings of the Democratic Party would stir from their Scythianic H.P. Lovecraft-like depths to rise and stop the socialist harpy from ascending to the polls. Ugh. So terrible. You know what? I'll add something that you pointed out in your podcast, Justin, is that as a candidate, something that Kim Kardashian would have is a very, very thick skin, which is worth pointing out. I think if you were making a sigil of me as a political candidate, it would be like a porcupine begging a donkey and a Republican to like him. Like, just like, please like me, right? I've got enough of that wanting to be buddies with everybody that I couldn't run for president. I would get squashed. Whereas like someone that's been called every single like vicious, mean high school girl thing writ large over millions of people in the country, that person can probably handle herself in a debate.
I mean, you learned the word slattern.
I did.
And that's the
withering criticism, slattern.
Although I love that word. I
learned that word. I haven't learned French like Bill Murray, and it's falling apart. I'm really forcing it there. I don't think that one can count. Please go on. I'm sorry.
The funniest thing about the Trump situation is that for whatever reason, there is this con that a man who has been made fun of his entire adult life. He has been destroyed by New York tabloids. He has been ridiculed as a sign, the negative sign of his age, the worst nugget of the me generation, exemplified, a walking Bible villain, that for whatever reason, he is going to be offended by Robert De Niro doing an impression, right? Or Alec Baldwin doing an impression. That the comedy that dominates late night is this like petty, he'll really get mad about this, as if a lifetime of being mocked and scorned wouldn't harden his skin for that.
On top of that, I'm just going to, I might do this as a monologue in the future, but I feel like the people that want to take a swing at Trump don't know what they're doing. I see so much of this of like, I think he's a bad person. And I'm like, Trump doesn't care that you think he's a bad person. I think he's an idiot. Trump doesn't care. This is what, if you actually want to like stick it to Trump, just constantly talk about Cialis and refer to his presidency as impotent. Nothing would drive him more crazy than being perceived as weak and ineffectual and old. Those are because he's an ego, right? But like when people actually take shots at him like for his moral character, he doesn't have it. He doesn't care about that.
And you're talking about a thing that has built his empire. The press he's got off people making fun of him made his empire. His job was to stay famous enough that people wanted to license his name to put it on things. That was his job. As long as he's getting press, as long as he's on television, as long as he's on the radio, that's what his job. Wake up every day, go to sleep at night. Did I do my job? Is my name out there in the news? If you want to criticize Trump, how about point out the things that you would point out about a normal president? You bet on this China trade war, and it's going sideways. You bet on the North Korea gambit, and it blew up in your face. We are now going to go more into debt with subsidies to make up for the fact that these tariffs are hurting farmers. The fact that he gets a free ride on all of that because we're looking to just squeeze. I swear, if we just flick Robert Mueller's earlobe hard enough, then maybe he'll cough up something that's that he forgot to put in the report because he was on Ambien while he was writing it, and then we'll be able to just frog march Trump out of the White House is ridiculous to me. It is a best case scenario for Trump.
Yeah, I think you're right on all those points. And I'll add, the things that irritate me are not, I get irritated about the trade war and that kind of stuff. I was just saying that things that would irritate Trump, I don't think he's going to get mad about comments about the trade war. But I do think if you just, constantly pointed out that he's, 79 or whatever he is, and just, said he's an old guy. He's an old guy. He's an old man. I think that kind of thing would drive him insane.
I don't think he cares about any personal insult. A personal insult that makes the news is a net positive to him and has been forever. If you want to, you're not going to damage Trump the person. Trump the person has lived. He's like the bacteria that lives on the volcanic vents under the ocean, a place for life to flourish. He flourishes in that kind of media scorn, and the louder it is, the more he enjoys it. If you want to end Trump's presidency, then you should be eroding the faith that people have in the economy because there are negative things that are happening. And like any president, if you make big claims and they don't come through, you earn criticism. That has been the way that most people have covered the presidents throughout at least my lifetime and in my research into times before I was born. And yet now it's like, no. We'd rather talk about the fact that he slicked his hair back like Biff Tannen and wore golf to a prayer meeting.
Well, so final question for you. We're going to go and wrap up, Justin. You've made a bold claim that Kim Kardashian is going to run for president. You've stated that you're not talking about this election. You're talking about 2024 or maybe later. We've got what, 5 years before that happens. For people that are skeptical, because I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards you on that one. I think we live in a reality now where this is entirely possible. Noting that, what should listeners keep their eyes peeled for? What are these signs that if something happens 2 years from now that Kim Kardashian does, that they should go, oh, she's gearing up?
The book.
The book? Okay. A book on the faith of Kim Kardashian or the memoirs or what?
Yeah, about my life and heavy themes. A lot of mother of three, businesswoman, these themes. That's the pivot. That's where you go from, young ingenue to power mom, and I think that's where we are going. That's what I would say is. The book with the themes about faith, talking about her crazy life and her superstar musician husband, and peeling back a few of those layers to kind of let people in to see a more serious side of her that isn't just her sniping at Taylor Swift or whatever.
Okay, you know what? You blew my mind, Justin. Before you leave, Jennings, can you hop on and let us know who won the Jennings Challenge?
Well, actually, I don't know. I fell asleep. I can't tell you who won. I can tell you who lost, the American listening public. But, we're going to call this one a draw today.
Okay. All right. Justin, it's a draw. Thanks for coming on.
Well, I'm very, very glad that apparently we need to go more salacious than Kim Kardashian will run for president for just to keep his eyes open.
Yeah. All right. Well, yep. Next time we'll outdo ourselves. Thanks, Justin.
See ya.
On YouTube, Travis Thompson writes, love the show. Please read my comment. Big fan. Travis, you don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to do it. Also, Did you guys know we sell merch? That's right. If you go to shop.theblaze.com, you can buy T-shirts for Jillian's Rooster Removal, Nick's Horseless Diner, Uncle Milton's Caffeinated Crab Dip, Bigfoot for Congress, and of course, Snuffy's, my favorite diner, and yours. Now, I'm pushing this to build up the show and build us up as a community and build up my ego. I don't actually make any money off of it, but if you tweet me a picture of you in it, it will make my day, and I will probably retweet it. How about that? We can be buddies on Twitter. You can watch this whole show on YouTube. If you look for Something's Off with Andrew Heaton, you can see my handsome bearded face and assortment of suits and the dead buffalo head we screwed to the wall. Watching Something's Off with Andrew Heaton on your computer or phone will shave years off your life, but they were years you didn't want anyway. So go to YouTube and start watching full episodes. I look like I might be, and then it just trails off. I'm going to let you fill in the blank on that one, audience. Remember, you can always tweet me at Mighty Heaton, or Facebook me at facebook.com/Mighty Heaton, or even email me by subscribing to my newsletter at mightyheaton.com and just replying when I send it out. Finally, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. That helps other people discover this here political orphanage. Thank you, and good day.